Right, welcome back to the Rams Talk podcast. Today, we're joined here with Matt from the Stevenage FC Podcast. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, Adam, really good, mate. It's great to come on here. I've got to be honest, I never thought I'd ever see my Stevenage be playing Derby in a League One game. So, I'm really happy to be here, mate. I'm looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, so if you haven't gathered from that, we are previewing the Stevenage versus Derby County game coming on Saturday. I best add in that we are recording on the Monday ahead of the midweek fixture. Obviously, Stevenage have Bristol Rovers away, Derby. We have Exeter at home. I think both sides will be going into it with varying confidences based off how Derby are going into the games recently. But we'll get straight into it. Stevenage, I think it wouldn't be disrespectful to say at the start of the season, most people would have predicted both sides to be in opposite positions to what they are. But we're going into it. Stevenage, 6th in League One, had a superb start under Steve Evans. And Matt, talk us through that. Talk us through that start under Stephen Evans. How has it been?
Yeah, wow. Let me tell you, it's been a long journey as well. Crikey, again, to be sitting here and talking about us and 14 games into League One is just surreal. We have to keep pinching ourselves as Stevenage supporters, being in this great division. But yeah, it was obviously getting promoted from the league below. It was one of these things where we come into this division and it was a sense of, do we stick with that group that got us promoted and playing League One and be a little bit competitive, but probably not be doing the things we're doing now, probably in the bottom kind of 9 of the division, or do we want to come up and upgrade the team, bring in some League One players? That should be competitive. And that Steve Evans is a winner. He's done really well at this level before, and it's no different now. So coming into this division, Steve upgraded the team. He brought in League One level players like your Nathan Thompsons, Louis Thompsons, Dan Butlers, etc., and has put this brilliant team together. And we're doing these great things that we probably never thought we'd be doing up in 6th in League One. So yeah, it's been a terrific start. We've got a very unique style that's unique at the level. And Steve's brought in the right players at the level to carry out that style for us. And so far it's been successful. We've had a couple of tough games recently against some good sides that are going to be up there competing for promotion. But for the large part, 6 wins, 4 draws and 4 defeats. A terrific start for us, and one that we're really enjoying.
Yeah, it's been, from an outsider's point of view, it's been a superb start for Stevenage coming into, and you're coming on off the back of a really tough run. When I was researching this fixture, really tough games coming up against, like you said, sides who are probably going to be trying to finish in that top 6. And looking at the stats, Bristol Rovers only lost 1 at home, if I'm correct. Top of League One in terms of clean sheets with 7. It's been a superb start. And you talk about those players that have come in, and I think my next question goes on to who is the one to watch Stevenage. Obviously, Jamie Reid is Stevenage's top goal scorer so far. An amazing amount of goals so far for such an early part of the season. But also, I've got them written down, as you mentioned, Dan Butler is one of the most informed players in that Stevenage side. But who is the player that if Derby fans looking into this fixture now, who should they be looking out for?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, I've said about all the new players we've signed, but I think if I'm picking out players that the Derby fans will need to keep an eye on, it's actually some of the original players that come up with us to this division. So, yeah, look, Jamie Reid, BGR, Big Goal Reedy, as he's known at our club, because the amount of times that guy scores a big goal in a big game is just ridiculous. Yeah, top goal scorer, one of the top goal scorers in the division. Certainly need to keep your eye on Reedy, especially with the game being at our place as well. He's scored a lot of goals at the Lamek since he's been here, really. But I think another player that you're going to have to keep an eye on is Jordan Roberts. Jordan's a player that we got prior to last year, and I think we saw last year that, he was a League One championship player, and we all believed that if we got promoted, he could come up to this division and do great. And he has done, the quality on the ball, the way he holds the ball, he can, get the ball in a certain part of the pitch and get you to another part of the pitch in quick succession, which is key in this division. You need those players like that. If anything, I think a few of us have said recently that the guy could probably go up and play championship. He's a top quality player, and he's certainly a player that you're going to need to keep an eye on Saturday. And if I'm picking out one more, the captain, the big man, Cole Pidgiani from set pieces. God, you want to keep an eye on him from corners and free kicks. And I think we've done a thing on our podcast this season where we've done a Pidge count. His nickname's Pidge count, and that is how many times he wins headers in the box at corners. And we've counted that from 14 games, it's something like 32 headers from corners. He's won 31 of them. So you're going to need to keep your arm from free kicks and corners. My God, that guy will find his head on the end of the ball somehow. But yeah, look, we've got a very good side, a lot of good players. But if I'm picking out some of the standouts, Reedy, Jordan Roberts, and Carl Pigiani from set pieces are the players you're going to want to keep an eye on.
Sound like players that Derby will have to look out for based on the form that are in at the moment. Not to be too doom and gloom, but there we go. In terms of, obviously, we'll talk about the last match now ahead of recording. Obviously, by the time people will be listening to this, they'll know what the score is against Bristol Rovers away. But that 0-0 draw with Port Vale, I saw the penalty appeal. Obviously, I'm not sure how that wasn't given, but then we had an absolute shocker given us against us on the weekend. But talk us through that 0-0 draw. What was the style of play like, and how was it from a Stevenage point of view?
Yeah, it was a really, really odd one Saturday. I think coming out the ground, I was happy with the point. You know, we'd lost 3-0 at Blackpool, and I think it was just that Saturday was just really important for just getting a result on the board. You know, when we look at this week with Bristol Rovers currently tomorrow night, you know, we look at that as a winnable game. So for me, it was just about getting a result on the board. We did that. We got a clean sheet as well, which was vitally important for the back line. But I think in terms of the way that we played in the first half, we just played the wrong way, really. Our style is very direct. We get the ball forward quickly, and then we play with some of the quality players in the final third, like the Jordan Roberts and the Jamie Reeds, etc. And our big target man, Aaron Pressley, was put on the bench Saturday. And the way that we were playing to Jamie Reed and Jordan Roberts just didn't suit them. It needed the big man. It needed the target man. And what was happening, we were being direct and we were giving the ball back to Port Vale, and then Port Vale were able to play and go and do the things that they want to do. So in terms of the performance and the way we played, we set up wrong. If we'd have had Aaron Pressley playing there, I think we would have won the game and been a lot more dominant. But we got a grip on it. Second half, we worked a bit harder. We pressed a bit more. We started winning the ball back. We do the ugly things really well. We do. And we started to do that in the second half and had the chance to win the game with Jamie Reed, and the keeper pulled off a really good save. So, yeah, look, coming away from it, I think in terms of the performance, we weren't that happy because we know that we played the wrong style considering who was playing up top. But I think Steve, the manager's such a clued up guy. He'll know where he's gone wrong. And I think for these matches this week, he'll play the right players to suit the style. So, yeah, look, a game that we should have probably won, but a point and a clean sheet keeps us sixth, 22 points. I think overall we're generally happy with it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about obviously coming off that loss to Blackpool, and Blackpool seems to be an up and down form, strangely really good at home, quite poor away. So to come away and get a point against Port Vale, it's something to build upon, isn't it? And then when doing the research, they talk about the direct style of play. I think Stevenage ranked one of the teams who have the lowest amount of possession, but when does possession ever matter? When you win games, it doesn't matter, does it? I think it'll be interesting coming up against Stevenage on Saturday from a Derby County point of view in terms of we like to go down the wings. I'm not enjoying us going down the wings at the minute because we're struggling to beat these League One defences that usually have big centre-backs that can head and clear the ball away. And we seem to be struggling, even though you'd think we have the quality to go down the wing and get a good ball in. But I think it'll be interesting. Derby, usually away from home, we like to sit back and play on the counter and try and play quickly when going forward and sit behind the ball. But it'll be an interesting one. Derby at the moment, we're in a strange bit of form, obviously coming off the back of being 7 games unbeaten. But when you watch those games, there's been a lot of results in there where maybe you'd think we should have done better. 0-0 draws. We've only won 1 at home in the league so far this season. Pretty much all our points come from away from home. So it's a bit of a strange one for Derby. I really can't predict it. I'll have to wait to see how we do tomorrow. But yeah, talking about the game now on Saturday and how you think that game is going to go. Like in terms of the style of play, do you think you're going to play direct once again? Do you think Presley's going to come back into the side? How do you think it's going to go on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we'll definitely do Saturday is keep the direct style, but play the right players. Presley probably has to play, suits the style. The big man up there, he gets our top players in and around him into play. I think this is a really important game for us because, we've had a brilliant start, and we knew that we'd have a good start because the fixture list was quite generous to us. We were playing a lot of the teams that are going to be down there, and fortunate we picked up some really good wins and really good performances, which we're happy about. It shows that we're hopefully not going to be part of that pack, which is really important. But whenever we've played one of the top sides that are probably going to be competing for promotion, we've probably played the wrong way. A lot of these good sides, your Oxfords, etc., they like to get the ball down and play good football, Blackpool included. And I think we've just needed to match that. We've got technically some really good players, oddly, for the style that we've got. So I think we've needed to play that other style as well to compete. So this is a really important game because I know that yourselves aren't having a season at the minute that you'll be very happy with, but I think come the end of the season you'll be up there somewhere in those playoffs, or whether it's competing for promotion. So we know that you're going to be up there. So it's big for us because whenever we've played a side, other than Portsmouth, which was a really good point, we've seen to struggle and haven't even got a draw in the game. So I think this is really important for us to prove that we can play well and play to the style needed to get results. So I think it's going to be a tough game. It's at home, so of course for us, we'd like to think that we could get a win in the game. I think a point against yourselves would be a good result as well. I think the one thing that we're going to need to do on Saturday, and it's something that we do for the majority of our home matches, we didn't do it against Port Vale, but that's to start well, suffocate you, get you in your own half and get you to play the game that we want to play. We've got a very good knack of doing that to teams this season. So I think we're going to need to do that against yourselves, get a good start in the game, get a goal ahead in the game. And normally when we get a goal ahead in the game at home, we normally go on to either win the game or get a draw. So I think they're the things that we're going to have to do. But yeah, Steve's going to have to put Presty back in, and with the style that we've got, I think that will probably allow us to do the things that we want to do in the game. I think it'll be tough, but yeah, I think for us, those are the things that we're going to have to do against yourselves on Saturday.
Yeah, I think in terms from a Derby County point of view, my worst nightmare is Steve Evans doing knee slides in front of the away end after a superb win. But no, I hope that doesn't happen. But I think coming in from a Derby County point of view, I mean, I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of the Derby fans are unhappy with the way we're playing. And to put it lightly, would be the best way to describe that. Obviously, coming off the back of that 1-0 loss to Shrewsbury, a team who had only scored 5 goals in the league, I think, before we went and played them. We didn't put in a great performance, and I think this season we're still waiting for that confident performance. Obviously, I know we've come off the back of some great away wins at Blackpool and Peterborough, but they're probably the most notable games for us. I think against sides that are predicted to be lower down. Obviously, you lot are above us, so not in that way, but we seem to drop a level, and it's disappointing. But I think coming up against Stevenage on Saturday, I think it'll be an interesting game. I think a lot rides on what happens tomorrow night for both sides. I think a lot does ride on that. I think Derby, we need some confidence and we need some energy to definitely improve the atmosphere for sure. Coming into it, I think we could see a few changes from Derby, but I would say that Derby, we probably will go maybe with the change of formation to 3 at the back with 2 wing backs. I know Paul Warren likes to play that, and he's been forced to play almost the 4 at the back recently, which has worked. It's a strange one, Derby, because we're so up and down. It depends what Derby team turns up. If we're up for it, we'll probably get a result, but if we're not, then it probably won't be very pretty to view from the away end, to be honest. But we go into it like that, and then obviously we'll talk quickly now. I forgot to mention this stuff, but the summer that Stevenage have had, the transfer that brought in, you talk about upgrading the team and what they're doing. You mentioned that some of the players from that promotion season last season have been standouts so far. But how has the summer been in terms of recruitment for Port Vale, for Stevenage, not Port Vale?
Yeah. No. I see what you mean. No, again, it was great for us. Again, I go back to upgrading the team. It was something that we needed to do. I think you can use kind of Carlisle as an example at the minute, although they're holding their own and they're doing all right. They're down the bottom fighting at the minute with quite a similar squad to what they had last year. And I think that's the model. If you come up to this division, you don't necessarily upgrade your team to the level. You can be one of those sides where you're struggling to fight tooth and nail to stay up. Look, I don't know if that would have been us if we'd have come up with that group, but I think you could have probably put your money on the fact that we would have been in that bottom 9. So yeah, it was something that we had to do. It's something that we have to do to be competitive. And yeah, it's not just about this season. It's the season's going ahead as well. We want to build foundations to do well in this league, So the summer for us was really important. It was really important that we got new contracts to the original players that are good enough to play League One that were with us last season. So we were able to pen a lot of those players in and give 2 to 3 year contracts to, which is something quite rare at our club. We've only ever been known to give out 1 year contracts because of our size and money, but with the promotion money and money from the FA Cup last year, we were able to probably pen some longer contract deals for those players. So that was the first thing we had to do. And then obviously the second thing we had to do was go and recruit those League One level players. And we did that. We got players like Nathan Thompson, who was playing in the playoffs last year for Peterborough, Dan Butler as well, Louis Thompson that was playing for Portsmouth, Ben Thompson that was playing championship football for Millwall a couple of years ago. So, these were players that we had to bring to the club. We'd done that. We brought Aaron Presty, who has played League One last year, who suits the style that we want to play. The summer was really good for us. We needed to have a big overturn of players. I think when we look through the squad, we've got about a 24 to 25 man squad, which is normally a bit more than what Steve normally likes. Steve Evans normally likes your 20 to 22 man squads, but I think Steve looked at it and thought, well, there's going to be injuries this season, and we want to make sure that we've got depth there. It's something that we were probably guilty of last year. We had about a 22 man squad. We got loads of injuries, and we were struggling. We went through about 7 to 8 different goalkeepers. So which is a bit unrealistic anyway and unheard of. But I think looking at League One, he wanted a bigger squad, bigger depth, so that when we do get those injuries, we've got players there that can play. Steve loves a phrase called no stocking fillers. So he loves having a group of players that are all starting players. So we don't really have any reserves. It's, the players that are on the bench should be playing. He wants an environment like that. And we've got that with our team this season in League One, which is really important at this level. So, the summer was great for us, really positive. And I think we saw that the summer was really good in the opening month of the season, where we won the opening 3 matches and were right in that top 3. So, a really good summer for us, one that was needed to allow us to compete in League One. And I think that'll be the reason why we go on to do well in this division.
Well, I'll move on to that now, like on your ending point now. What is your prediction for the end of the season? I know I'll hold my hands up and say I predicted Stevenage to be down there, but just to survive. I think they had enough at the start of the season, but obviously that was before the window ended. And now, what is your prediction for the end of the season? Obviously, you've had this superb start. You've got a good enough squad. You've got a big enough squad too, which I think is key. We talked about injuries, Derby. I think for the first 6 games, we had a key injury every game, which completely wiped us out. But what is your prediction then for the end of the season, this season? How do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, good question. I mean, all of us, when we came into this league, we were all a bit like, get the 50 points and just stay up, because the amount of times you'll see a promoted side, East Forest Green, for example, they come up and then they go straight back down. You never really consolidate as a League One club. You get promoted, but you're not really a League One club. So I think for us, get the 50 points. We're nearly halfway there. If we beat Bristol Rovers tomorrow, we're exactly halfway to 50. So I think that's the goal. But I think knowing that we've got 22 points and there's 96 left to play, I mean, the team really, if they can just get half the amount of that puts them in touch of a playoff position. So I think the team is more than capable of contending for a playoff position. It's just whether we keep people fit, we're able to keep our home form good. I think the home form's vital for us having a really good season. We've got good home form, 2 wins, 4 draws, just 1 defeat. So I think that's really important. The away form's been decent as well, 4 wins from 7. So I think they're the things that we're going to have to do well. I think if I was predicting it, it's tough for me because I'm so positive about Stevenage, obviously, Adam. Yeah, anyone that knows me knows I'm the most positive Steve. If it was me, I'd go, win the league, do you know what I mean? But I can't be like that because people will be like, seriously, Matt. But no, I think if I was being realistic, I definitely think we can get a top 10 finish. I mean, before the season, I predicted us 10th, and a lot of people said that was very optimistic, but I knew that we'd signed a lot of League One players who have been competing for promotion recently, so I thought 10th would be a good position. So I certainly think top 10. I think it will be down to players staying fit and recruitment in January, which will be the difference to us contending for a playoff position. But I'll go for us. With the points that we've already got and 96 left to play for, I think the team can definitely get a top 10 finish in League One, which is it's just incredible. That would be like winning the league for us. Do you know what I mean? To finish in the top 10 in this league. So, but top 10 finish, I think we'll get,
I don't think you're being unrealistic, to be honest, after the start you've had. And if, like you say, I think it's so key in League One to keep your players fit. I think that is massive. I think Derby recently, we've had so many injuries where we've had to then put square pegs in round holes, for saying, in terms of fitting players into positions, and it has hindered us a little bit. I think the right back position we've struggled with until we've then brought in Niambe to come in. But we'll now go back to Saturday's match. Do you have a score prediction? Be as biased as you like, be as positive as you like, as negative as you like. What score prediction are you going with on Saturday?
Do you know what? I've got this funny feeling that it's going to be a real wacky type of game where there's goals and it's a real end-to-end type of game. I don't know what it is. Normally when I do these predictions, I'm a boring 2-0, 1-0 type of person that predicts.
2-1.
Oh, there you go. I've just got this funny feeling that there's going to be goals on Saturday. I think both teams, with us, again, it's dependent on tomorrow night's games, but I think in our point of view, we'll want to know that really we've got to prove that we can get results against these big sides. And I think the team will really want to try and go out there and get 3 points Saturday, and yourselves, similar thing in, you know that you need a win to get yourself back in that contention of those playoff places and higher. So I think it's going to be a crazy type of game. So I'm going to go, do you know what? I'm going to go 3-2 win to us. I think there could be a real end-to-end element, knowing that you said that you like to counter as well. I think there's going to be a real end-to-end element to it. Maybe it goes 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, but I'm gonna say that we'll find ourselves on the right end of a 3-2. But I'm expecting a big game, and again, just to play Derby in a league fixture is quite incredible. I remember actually a couple of years ago, it might have been 2019. Remember you were in the Championship at the time, and you played QPR at home. I think it might have been 1-1 or something like that. And we had a game.
I went to that game. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we had a game against, I think it was Oldham or something like that was cancelled. It was postponed. We had no game to go to. And I've got a couple of mates who are Stevenage fans, but the QPR fans, and they were going to the game. And I remember that morning, really cold morning, and me and a mate went, "Oh, should we go? Should we go to him?" We were like, "Yeah, go on." So we went up, and we just sat in the QPR end. I think Eze scored a penalty or something like that from memory. And I remember sitting there, and I remember looking around the ground, thinking, "God, I'd love to come watch Stevenage play one day, like in the FA Cup or something." I swear to God, if someone would have tapped me on the shoulder and went, "You'll be back here in League One in 4 years," I'd have been like, "There's no way." So no, to be playing yourselves in a league game, it's just terrific, and it's great to see you sold out the away end and stuff, and it's going to be a big day and a big atmosphere. We can't wait. So no, it's just a pleasure to be in this division playing huge clubs like yourself. So, but yeah, to go back to your answer, 3-2. I'm going to say 3-2. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a fair answer, and I think that's a great point to end it there. A really nice positive note to end it on. So if you have enjoyed listening to this, please leave us a review. Obviously, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening to. Also, this podcast will go live visually on YouTube at Wednesday night. You'll be listening to this past 6 p.m, but it does go live every week at 6 p.m. The previews ahead of the Saturday match. Obviously, we've got the podcast every Sunday dissecting the league games that we've played. But if you have enjoyed it, please give us a follow on our social medias. They're all in the description. Obviously, go and follow the Stevenage FC podcast for all your Stevenage FC content. But that has been me, Adam, and Matt from the Stevenage FC podcast, and thank you for listening.